To be honest with you, I've never been a big Jim Reeves fan. A lot of his stuff is just too polished for me. The singing, the pronunciation, too perfect. For country music, for me, it's just too clean sounding. However, I took a recommendation on this thing here called Good and Country. I think you've seen this record before. It's quite an iconic cover, actually. And it's a widely available record, including YouTube Music and Spotify. And I think this might be the first album to formally introduce the sound of the atmospheric steel guitar as a thing in country music. It was recorded at RCA Studio B. It's got a female producer, pretty rare in 1963. It's a record surrounded by fate and tragedy, with more than a few foreshadowing moments of things to come. It's 1963, Good and Country, Jim Reeves featuring Pete Drake.
Well, here.
What do I mean when I say atmospheric steel guitar? I mean the steel being used more for padding and layering, like an effect to add mood, than it is so much playing a lead instrument that's fighting for attention with the vocal and the guitar and the fiddle. This is a steel guitar sound that is widely used in alt country and Americana music. But in 1963, this was like way ahead of its time. It was March 4th and March 5th of 1963. Many of the A-Team players are here tracking this album. A rotating cast of men and women that played on a lot of big Nashville recordings. The idea here is that RCA wants Jim Reeves to record a real authentic country album to hit that demographic. But Jim Reeves was not a fan of the steel guitar. He was not even really a country music fan, I don't think. In fact, there's a story in which he allegedly threw Bobby Garrett's steel guitar down a flight of stairs in a fit of rage. Bobby Garrett and Jimmy Day being two steel players that previously had recorded and toured with Jim Reeves. But they want to make a real dyed-in-the-wool country record here. And Jim Reeves likes Pete Drake. Ironically, Pete doesn't really play straight country steel on this album. Now, he may have made that choice just because that's his style, or maybe because Jim's audience, they needed something might look really country, but not sound too country, if you know what I mean. Now, the first time they tried this formula was actually in 1962, the year before. It's Pete Drake recording as well on this one, countryside of Jim Reeves, but the playing is just a touch more lively than the one we're talking about here today. As the band is assembling at RCA, tragedy is unfolding 90 minutes away from the studio. On March 5th, the plane carrying Patsy Cline, Cowboy Copas, and Hawkshaw Hawkins goes down at 6:29 p.m. Now, news didn't travel as fast back in the days, and news of the plane missing was not actually announced on WSM until later that night. The bodies were not recovered until 6 a.m. the following morning, so news of this tragedy would have broke around mid-morning in Nashville on March the 6th. Thankfully, the cast at RCA probably doesn't know what is going on while tracking, though it is possible they were made aware of the plane missing before the end of that session. Now, the weather on March 5th was legitimately terrifying. If Jim and Pete were in the studio, they would have been hearing it outside. It was a heavy downpour with dense fog, low-hanging clouds, with streaks of lightning ripping across the sky. It's a cool 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the night before, on March 4th, they recorded the following songs. There's a Heartache, Following Me, as track 1, with some great atmospheric steel on it. I've enjoyed as much of this as I can stand. The Talking Walls, kind of creepy. Don't Let Me Cross Over, and this last track, Before I Died. Given that it's the last track of the day, I mean, how crazy is that? This is kind of a chilly title and concept for the song. Here's a little clip of it now.
I died.
The following day, March 5th, it's 7 to 10 p.m. is the session, evening session. They start with Little Ole Dime. It's probably the best song on the album.
And I'm placing all my last hopes on you.
It's got a legendary steel guitar part in it. The World You Left Behind, they record as the second song. Now, they would have been tracking this 2 hours after the plane goes down, that they record this song, I shit you not. The World You Left Behind. Here's a sample of the lyrics. They followed that up with the titles Lonely Music, Bottle Take Effect, and You Kept Me Awake Last Night. A particularly eerie steel guitar part from Pete Drake on that tune. It's a hell of a song, and Floyd Kramer is all over it. He's perfect. It's spooky stuff. The music, the titles, the story, the whole thing is just dark for a 1960s country record, Nashville sound record, you might even say. But the story doesn't end there, because Jim Reeves isn't long for this world either. His own personal tragedy is right around the corner, 15 months later, in fact. And according to Jim Reeves' biographer, Larry Jordan, a year after Good and Country was recorded, Jim invited Pete Drake to fly with him on that trip to Arkansas, as Pete was Jim's favorite steel player, of course, but Pete had to turn down the seat due to a session conflict. The seat was eventually taken by Jim's manager, Dean Manuel, and on July 31st, 1964, that plane crashed, killing both of them. And this record is the bridge between these two unlikely tragedies. And while Pete Drake was the only survivor of this story, he's sadly not even going to live a terribly long life himself. He dies at just 55 years old from emphysema complications in 1988. You know, the steel guitar was really being pushed out of country music by this point, contemporarily speaking. So it's a timely performance by Pete Drake. He's just playing all over the record. Floyd Kramer, as I said, is on piano. Bob Moore is on bass. Chet Atkins and Anita Kerr are producing, but Anita Kerr is officially going to get the credit on this one. And it's really one of the bright spots of this story. A moment for Anita Kerr, you know, getting the credit that she deserved. If you know anything about her story, she was doing a lot of work at RCA, co-producing sessions, and not taking much credit for it. So this atmospheric steel guitar is something that Pete Drake is going to take and use for Bob Dylan, pretty much all of the Beatles individually, and it is going to take someone with that style to do that, because the thing limiting the steel guitar is that it's got a noodly, crying sound associated with country music. Non-country artists don't want that sound unless there's a specific call for it. In fact, the steel guitar is a very divisive thing, musically speaking. And nowadays, a player called Russ Pahl, he's made a whole career out of this very style of playing. In a 1973 interview with Douglas B. Green, Pete Drake said, "Music's coming together. It's not country music, it's not pop music, it's music. Last week there were 33 records in the top 100 pop that had steel guitar on it that I know of. 2 years, 3 years ago, you wouldn't see that, you know? There wouldn't be one in there." So it's a time capsule of 1963, a year of mourning, a year of atmospheric steel guitar innovation. So I'm boldly declaring this rather dark Jim Reeves album a must-have record today. And if you haven't heard it in a while, you might revisit it, and you might hear it in a whole new light. I want to ask Jim Reeves fans here, is Good and Country a definitive Jim Reeves album? How does it stack up against his other work? And what is a a must-have Jim Reeves record. If this isn't it, let me know in the comments if you can. Commenting is free for the next 24 hours, as well as subscribing to the channel, liking the video. It's free for a limited time only. So take care, keep it country, and of course, we'll see you next time.
A touch of summer's love and winter's rain.